I'll give you a quick analogy, because I love analogies. Let's say I drive a car, I get into a petrol station, I fuel the car. As I fuel the car and I start moving out, what happens? It creates energy in the engine. I'm not very mechanically inclined, but something happens. It creates energy. The car starts to move. As the car is moving, there's something that it is waste. What does it do behind? Gets rid of the waste. The truth is, my friends, we sit down and what do? We eat. And once we eat, we produce energy. And as a result of that, there is waste that the body has to get rid of. And the quicker you're able to get rid of that waste, the more healthy you're going to become. Are we together here? So very, very important. Also, water is not just water. I used to think, by the way, all waters are the same. And I used to think that I was drinking one of the most superior waters that anybody could drink. I was drinking one of the worst waters that anybody can drink. I was drinking reverse osmosis water, RO water. Now, why is it? RO water, especially in Japan, they call it dead water. And this is the reason why. The process of reverse osmosis removes all minerals and nutrients from the water. And since water is a highly soluble solution, when you ingest reverse osmosis water, it starts to leach minerals from your body, from your bones, which means it's not good for you. So some waters are more pure than others, some have more minerals than others, and some will actually leach minerals from the body. What we'll be doing tonight is that we're going to be testing these drinks that we've got here to find out, are they good for us, are they not good for us? Now, drinking Kangen water will help remove acid waste, like I mentioned. It will detoxify your body. By the way, you will detox. It's very important that people understand when they start drinking this water, they'll detox. And this is the reason why. You know, when somebody is not made aware that they'll detox, guess what they'll say? This water is actually making me sick. Because sometimes the body gets worse before it can get better. When you start drinking Kangen water on a really serious note, the body will detox. Now, everybody is different. People will detox in different ways. Sometimes it's headache, sometimes it's loose bowels, sometimes it's they feel tired. All sorts of things will happen. But guess what? Once you're aware, once you push through that, then you will see amazing things actually happening. As a matter of fact, Frank started drinking the water. How long have you been drinking the water, Frank?
3 weeks.
3 weeks. And I remember one of the things that you've gone through a pretty interesting detoxing, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. But also in the process, what has happened is that you've lost a fair bit of weight. Is that true? Yeah, yeah. So that will happen. It will happen as we continue drinking the water. It will superhydrate at the cellular level. It's most important for us to understand it's not so much what we take in, it's what you utilize as a result of what you take in. Because you can take in things that are not going to be beneficial because they go in and go out, which is what I normally refer to as very expensive urine, if you may allow me to. Now, the body will get back into homeostasis. Now, I can tell you that there are all sorts of conditions that people have had, and guess what? They drink the water, and those conditions are neither here. They get reversed. But what you need to understand is that the water is not medicine. It does not cure any disease at all. All it does is that it gets the body back into homeostasis or a stable equilibrium, and then the body heals itself. That's what the water does. It's not medicine. Now, who wants to have more energy, by the way? Who wants to have more energy? Now, the truth is, when you drink this water, you have no choice but to have more energy. And this is the reason why. 1% reduction of water inside the cells leads to 10% reduction in energy production. And by the way, you're going to have lots of energy when you drink Kangen water. Now, I know I did ask everybody here, and everybody said that if they were to be healthy, they would like to live to 125 years. Now, the truth is, my friend, if you drink Kangen water, you have no choice. No, mark my words. You have no choice but to get younger. And this is the reason why. The amount of antioxidant in that water that you're drinking is gigantic. You cannot eat enough fruits and vegetables to get that into the system. Now, and I'll quickly share with you my experience. I turned 50 last year, and you know, I was invited to a birthday party, and the birthday party that I was invited was a 20-year-old girl, and the father, you know, we've been friends since we came from Kenya, and there were people from interstate. There were friends there that had not seen me for about 3 years. And in I walk, and there's a gentleman there I hadn't seen. He lives in Sydney. He looks at me, again he looks at me, he looks at me, and then he says to me, "What have you been doing, John?" I said, "Huh, are you sure? What do you mean, what have I been doing? You look trim, you look young, what are you doing?" I said, "Are you sure you want to know?" Guess what he said? He said, "Yes, I really want." I said, "Are you sure you really want to know?" I said, "Yes." I said, "You got to take a seat. Have a seat first, and then I'll tell you." Then I said to him, I've been drinking some water. Guess what was the reaction?
Zero.
What water? The truth is, and we are going to test, we'll test the amount of antioxidant in this water. The amount of antioxidant in this water is gigantic. And you will feel young and look young. Now, it will assist with reversal of degenerative diseases. Now, I can only give you examples of people that have actually experienced this, various conditions. And I'll just give you maybe first and foremost my own situation. Like I mentioned, in August of 2010, something happened to me that changed my way of thinking about health. I normally wake up very early in the morning. I wake up 4 o'clock, and this was no different. I woke up 4 o'clock in the morning, went to my study, was doing my study, and then at about 4:30, something happened to my body, and I didn't know what it was. So I crept back, and I went back to bed, and I said to my wife, I'm not sure exactly what's happening. There's some energy thing happening in my body. I'll lie down, and then I'll go to work later. Little did I know, for 3 days, I was at home. As a matter of fact, my wife, I'm not sure why she's here, she kept telling me, you have to go to hospital. I said, I've never been sick. I'm going to be okay. Now, on the third day, walking was actually an issue because I had a lot of pain. And then my business partner calls me and says, have you gone to see the doctor? I said, no, I haven't gone to see the doctor. I mean, we've never seen you sick, John. Why don't you do this? Go and see the GP. He's a pharmacist, by the way. Go and see the GP. Tell him to do a blood test. At least you're going to find out what's the problem. And I thought the penny dropped. So I went. When I went, and by the way, it's very important for us to understand that allopathic medicine has its place. Are we together here? Okay? Allopathic medicine has its place. I'm not here to negate allopathic medicine. So I went to the GP and they checked. We had 3 doctors in the room, and they're looking for a problem. They couldn't find any problem. And then one of them said, why don't we do an ECG? And they did an ECG, and lo and behold, have been having a heart attack, an ambulance straight away to Royal Adelaide. And I'm telling you, I mean, Australia, as far as I'm concerned, my friends, we have some of the best medical care facilities than anywhere else in the world. Because if I was in Kenya, my birthplace, would probably be talking of a totally different story. Now, the truth is I went to Royal Adelaide, and they really did take good care of me. They did whatever they could to, make sure that I live. I live today because of what they did. There's only one thing that I totally disagreed with them. And this was each and every person, each and every doctor, including my doctor friends, they said to me that for the rest of your life, you will have to be on medication. Now, that did not sit well with me. And this is the reason why it did not sit well with me. The reason why I'd always wanted to be healthy was because growing up in my mother's family, all of them have passed on for the same condition. My mother, there were 9 of them. There's only 1 left. And all of them passed away with the same conditions. Specifically, I saw my own mother suffer a lot. And, she had medication for diabetes. She had medication for arthritis. She had cancer medication. She had all sorts of medication. She used to carry a bag with her that she used to call a medical bag wherever she went. And I still remember my mother suffered for so many years, and we tried to look for anything that could help her, and she ended up passing on with a lot of pain. And so when these people, the medical practitioners, were telling me that I'm going to be on medication for the rest of my life, the only image that came to my mind, guess what it was? My mother's image. I could only see my mother, and I said to myself, well, there has to be a solution. There has to be another way. I did take medicine. And in the process, I got involved with this water, specifically a medical doctor from the United States. His name is Dr. Futzer. He's a Harvard-trained vascular surgeon. He highly recommended Kangen Water. The other person who helped me out is Dr. Dean Ornish. He has helped a lot of people with heart condition. He's from the United States and helped them reverse heart diseases through natural methods. And I took on board what they told me. And I'll have to say to you that since September of 2010, from 7 medications, I have not taken a pill. Now, this water has been a very, very significant component of me having the health that I have today. Not only that, as a result of that, it took me 4 months of doing research about this water, by the way. I got results, but guess what? Today, you get New information, what do? We sit down and we do what?
Google.
We go to Google. I'm not any different. I went to Google and I didn't know whether I was going left or right. I didn't know who's telling the truth and who is not telling the truth. It took me, I had already gotten results, but it took me 4 months of research before I could even speak to anybody about this water. And I'll tell you this, there is no other product that gives people the kind of results that Energic and Kangen Water does. I have seen so many people with conditions. I have seen, in fact, I'll ask James to talk about it. I don't know whether James has gone out, but James had Crohn's disease. He'll talk about it. I've seen people with arthritis. I've seen people with cancer specifically. They've had those conditions reversed. My own father, by the way, I just came back from Kenya in end of July. And before I went back to Kenya, my father said to me, I've been unwell and we've tried everything and I've been told that I must have a pacemaker because his heart rate had gone down, his blood pressure was all over the place, it's high, it's low, and they didn't know what to do. They said, we're going to get a pacemaker. And I called Dr. Future and I said, what advice can you give me? He said, what you do, take him the water and, let him start doing some form of exercises, at least walking, let him change his diet a little bit and see what happens. So when I went in July, I went with a machine. I said to my father, just wait until I come. Now, I came back late July, and since the beginning of August, what has happened to my father has been really, really profound. My father is one of those people, for the last 2-3 years, every time I call him, the only thing that he talks to me is just about a lot of negativity. Since he's been drinking the water, his blood pressure has normalized, his pulse rate has normalized, he is sleeping better, he has more energy, he was able to walk for 10 kilometers without puffing at all. And most importantly is that he is so positive, it is a pleasure for me to speak with him. Are you getting where I'm going? Now, what I want to tell you is that it will help reverse a lot of degenerative diseases, but it doesn't cure any disease at all. Right? It does not cure any disease at all. It helps the body get back into balance and the body does what it knows how best to do. As a matter of fact, my journey of talking to people about this water has been the most profound experience that I've ever had. I mean, I saw Seven. Is Seven here or she's gone? Oh, Seven there. I mean, I met Seven. She came to a class that I was doing in WEA and she had health challenges. And I said to her, you come and listen to what we have to do, what this water is all about, and see whether it will help you. Has that water helped you? There you go. And I'll tell you, not a day goes by before somebody tells me or shares their experience about this water. And we'll have some few people share their own experience as we go along. So it will help with reversal of degenerative diseases. Now also, drinking Kangen water, by the way, it's not just for people who are unwell. By the way, prevention is better than? You don't need to be sick to get better. Are we together here? You don't need to. It will help with people in sporting perspective, from a sporting perspective. High endurance and improved performance, hydration is the key. Hydration is the key. It improves the electrical transmission, the signals between the cells. 1% dehydration will lead to 3% reduction in performance. That's massive from a sporting perspective. Before, guess what we used to buy for our boys? We used to buy for them Gatorade. Today, they will not touch Gatorade at all. They have a 3-liter bottle that they carry with them that has Kangen water. As a matter of fact, my older son is playing football, as in soccer, in Melbourne. And the time he got a contract in Melbourne, first his concern was, what will happen? I'm going to Melbourne, I don't have a machine. That was his most immediate concern. I said, you're lucky. You're very lucky because, we can lend you one of our machines and you can go and use it. It will help a lot with sporting activities. Quick recovery from sporting activities, how the body handles lactic acid buildup will determine how quickly a sporting person will get back into training. Now, medical device versus water, it's not a water filter, by the way. It's very important that we understand it's not a water filter. This is a water ionizer and it's a medical device from Japan. Now, there are many different water ionizers, and I've talked about that. And what is intriguing to me about human behavior is that, for example, I've talked to you about all the various machines that are there on the internet. What amazes me, for example, I'll give you an analogy. I can tell you there's a hole there. You see, if you walk on this lane, there's a hole, and you're going to fall in there. Hole. Never stops to amaze me. People will still go. They're walking on that path, and then they'll get in the hole, and they say, you know what, John, I'm in the hole. And I wonder, weren't you advised? Do you get what I'm saying? You see, water ionization is a new concept in the Western world. Okay? Now, if you need any more information in order for you, you see, can you make a good decision without good information? Can you? No, it's not possible. You need to have the right information to make the right decision for who? For you. Okay? Now, don't become what I call 60 minutes experts, because people come here, they go on the internet, and within 60 minutes, they become actually advisors about ionized water. And you know, I can tell that, well, you're going into a ditch, my friend. And they get into the ditch, and then 6 months later, it's a phone call. You know what, John? Ionized water does not work. Well, I say, ionized water does work. It depends on what you're using to create the water. Okay? So if you want more information, clinical studies, scientific articles, product comparison, we are going to give you that information so that you can make the right decision for yourself. Now, Energic are the people who actually manufacture this machine. It's a 39-year-based company based on a lot of medical research and clinical studies. So we are not talking about something that has not been tested. It has been tested. And I've been very fortunate enough to go to Japan twice and actually saw machines that are probably about 20, 25 years old in Japan that are still functioning well. Now, Energic is an original equipment manufacturer. They are endorsed by the Japanese Association of Preventive Medicine for Adult Disease. Now, that's a group of 7,000 doctors, and it is the most prestigious and largest group of doctors in Asia. Also, it is approved as a medical device by the Japanese Ministry of Health. We've talked about that. 20 to 25 years of product lifespan. Now, it was interesting, by the way, when I was doing my research, and I'm not here to put other people down, but I'll just give you a quick example. One of the companies that I talked to, I said to them, you know, how long have you been in existence? They said, you know, we've been in existence for about 8 years now. We are going on to 9 years. And I said, okay, so if I buy a unit from you, you're telling me it will do all these things, and how long should I expect the lifespan of this particular unit? And they said to me, you know, it should be able to last you about 10 to 15 years. And I thought to myself, that is interesting. You've only been in existence for 8 years. How can you tell me that the unit is going to last me for 15 years? How do you know? You get what I mean? Right? So it's very important that you make sure that you're getting the right information. ISO certified by that's ISO certified various standards of ISO, including ISO as a medical device. Energic has been awarded the Gold Seal certification by the Water Quality Association, and it's the only water ionizer in the market to receive that award as a gold seal certification. The product also will come with 5 years warranty. Now, it's important because if you're going to invest in something for your health, you want to make sure that the company has the credibility to support you along the way. Now, there are various Japanese hospitals and universities that have been using this water since 1974. Like I said, it's not news from that perspective. Medical doctors that endorse Energic, I talked about Dr. Futzer. He's a Harvard-trained vascular surgeon. That's the gentleman who helped me with my former heart condition, and Dr. Shinya. Now, the incredible thing about Dr. Shinya, and this is the gastroenterologist, is that not being chief of surgical endoscopy at Beth Israeli Medical Center or clinical professor of surgery at Albert Einstein College of Medicine, the most important aspect to me is right here, over 370,000 colonoscopies. Now that's massive, massive data. And guess what? He says in his book that the patients that go to see him, 100% complete total remission. And I'll show you a quick clip of Dr. Shinya of people's colons. I know sometimes it's not very pleasant to see, but guess what? It's important for us to understand what is going on where? Inside. Because it gives you a kind of visual image of what actually is happening when people drink the water, and after they've drunk the water, what happens. So we'll share that with you in a minute. Now, Dr. Corinne Allen, she's been a big advocate of this water. She's a specialist when it comes to brain injury, and she has a brain clinic in the United States. One of the things that she says is that, let me go back. One of the things she says is that brain injury and dehydration go together. And unfortunately, it isn't possible to fully hydrate with regular water. Yet, when Kangen water is introduced, positive results for the brain increases by 35%. Now, that is massive. That's major, 35%. And she helps a lot of patients with, conditions like Asperger's, autism, and all sorts of brain injuries, and getting very good results drinking Kangen water. Of course, Japan, we know they are number one in longevity. They are number one in healthcare. And guess what? They have the highest consumption of ionized water in the world. Now, let's look at what this machine actually produces and what is this water that we drink. Now, we've got the machine here. The machine actually talks to you. Oh, it's saying notice of cleaning. It needs to clean itself. Now, it will give you 5 different types of water, and all you need to do is to press a button and it will produce the water. It will produce drinking water at various pH. pH is really potential hydrogen, and we'll be measuring the pH of the various drinks that we've got here tonight. So it gives you a pH of 8.5, 9, and 9.5. Now, the reason why it gives you 3 levels is that if, for argument's sake, if somebody is on a lot of medication and they are very toxic, if you give them 9.5, they might not even be able to handle the detoxing. So you can start them, they can start on 8.5 maybe for 2-3 days or a week, then go to 9 and eventually get to 9.5. And that's for people who are really unwell and people maybe who are elderly. But for majority of the people, you could start at 9.5. Yes, it's going to be a bit of a detox, but that's, you know, it's just getting rid of the toxins that you don't need in the body. Then the water we have clean water. This is water that has actually just gone through the filtration process. It has not gone through the ionization process. And for people who are on a lot of medication, we recommend you don't take medication with Kangen water, and you'll see in a minute when we do the demonstration the reason why, but you take medication with clean water which has just been filtered but not ionized. Then there's my favorite one, beauty water. By the way, in all honesty, who wants to be more beautiful? You want? You know what? I love me so much, you know, and I love this one. I love it. It's so. Do you want to try? Do you want to try? How does it feel?
Wet.
Wet? Ah, how did it feel? Tell me, how do you feel?
Cold now.
Beauty water is so good for your skin, my friend. You see, I shave. I no longer use aftershave. I don't use anything else. I just use beauty water. And by the way, it is also refreshing to the face. You've experienced that. It is refreshing. If I go to a meeting and I feel like I'm getting a bit tired, I just use beauty water. If I maybe go somewhere, I use the bathroom because it's slightly acidic. Instead of using anything else, I just use it to wash my hands because it is a sanitizer. Are we together? You see, the skin has an acid mantle to prevent any germs and pathogens and bacteria from getting in. Are we together here? Very, very good. You know, ladies, you use, is it toner? Toner? Instead of toner, guess what? You use beauty water, and it's really good for you. Also, by the way, for people with skin conditions, if the skin condition is not severe, say something like eczema or acne or those kind of conditions, if it's not severe, beauty water will get rid of it. Okay. Then we've got strong acid water and strong alkaline water. Now, strong acid water is a highly antibacterial water. It will help with even severe things like gangrene or diabetic wounds, if you're familiar with that. That's normally a very, very difficult thing to heal. But guess what? Using 2.5, they use it in Japan, they can help heal, gangrene or diabetic wounds. Let's say, for example, somebody cuts themselves. You apply a bit of, 2.5 water, it will heal itself. Tonsillitis, for example. I was giving a seminar in Perth about 4 weeks ago. And there was a lady there, and she stood up and said, I want to share something with you since I started drinking this water. I said, what is it? She said, since I was a kid, I've had issues with tonsillitis. Once we got the machine, she had an issue with skin condition, and the skin condition is gone. You see her skin, it's so beautiful. However, she's always had tonsillitis issues, and she used the 2.5, and it's completely gone. It's also very good as a mouthwash, because it kills a lot of bacteria. So in the morning, when you brush your teeth, it's very good to use 2.5 to just get rid of the bacteria. Then we've got the 11.5 water. The 11.5 water, I call it, it's magical. I mean, why do I say that? Because remember, today, what do farmers do? When farmers plant the produce, they will spray the produce with chemicals, pesticides that are oil-based. The reason why they do that is that so that when it rains, then it doesn't wash off. Now, then we get the produce from the market, we bring the produce home, and we wash the produce and thinking that we're going to get rid of all the things that have been sprayed on the produce. And we'll demonstrate that to you here tonight, that when we wash the produce with tap water, guess what? You still have all those chemicals on the produce. When you use the 11.5 water, Kangen water, strong alkaline water, you're able to get rid of all those pesticides and herbicides that have been sprayed on the produce. And part of the problem that we have today as a society is because of we are bombarded with a lot of chemicals, and we ingest those chemicals, and guess what? They are toxic to the body, and the body is not able to get rid of those toxins, and eventually it manifests as a disease in the body. Are we together? Are we learning something?
What happens if we drink the 11.5?
Well, it's highly alkaline. If you drink it for a long time, of course, just like you don't want the body to be acidic, you also don't want the body to be extremely alkaline. Okay? If you just drink it once accidentally and not a lot of it, it will not probably have any harm. But if you drink high pH water, just like you don't want your body to be too acidic, you don't want it to be too alkaline. Okay? Now let's look at the properties that are there in this water. What is it that makes this water so unique and causes people to have this kind of dramatic results that people are having? Now, number one, first and foremost, the water is antioxidant, it's anti-aging, it's anti-inflammatory. Now, let's look at what is oxidation, for example. What is oxidation? If we cut an apple in half and leave an apple out in the open, what happens? It goes brown. It oxidizes. By the way, there's an oxidation process that is happening to us all the time. Oxidation equals rusting, aging, and what? Sickness. This is why antioxidants are good for us, because they reduce they reduce that aging process or that rusting process. Now, living tissue plus oxidation equals sickness and aging, and that's what you don't want. So you want to have a water like Kangen water that is very rich in antioxidant that are actually bioavailable. The body is able to actually recognize once it's given Kangen water. Now, that was an interesting experiment that I did. I mean, after 12 months, when you put nails in water, what happens? They rust. Now, although it might not be very clear for you there, this is a glass of water with nails and Kangen water, and this is with normal tap water, and after 12 months you can see the results. There's a lot of rusting there. There's absolutely no rusting there. So what we are going to do this evening is that we're going to test the amount of antioxidant in these drinks. Do they have antioxidant or don't they? Are they oxidizing or are they an antioxidant? And we're going to use an ORP meter, which is an oxidation reduction potentiometer.